Welcome back everybody, how you doing? Just 10 minutes ago, Cat Williams exposes how the industry rates young rappers. Baby D, D-Baby, Petey Pablo, and others. Everybody knows Hollywood is an evil, manipulative place. And if you go there looking for fame, they're going to use you. They're going to use you like nothing else. And everything. But a lot of people want to follow that dream because I see that money. And Hollywood plays on people's dreams and wants and desires. Just like Satan plays on people's ambitions, their wants, desires for stuff. Hollywood is the devil's playground. But let's get into the video, shall we?
Because the masculinity that the rappers are supposed to portray. Perform fellatio on me, and you get your deal. That was what I heard while I was on Empire about some of the people in the business. And Petey Pablo, you remember Petey Pablo?
I know who that is.
Petey Pablo, talented writer, singer. Him and Young Buck wrote a song called Ho Is On. And in that song, back in about 2011 or 29 or something, because he called out all of the homosexuality taking place at those parties and those people, he was kicked out of the music business. No radio station would play his stuff. So you look for Petey Pablo, he's not around anymore. But that song, Ho It's On,
That nigga went into the booth and closed the curtain. Right? About 3 minutes later, the curtain opened. Session over. What the fuck you mean section over? We just got here. Section was over. I don't know what that nigga went and said today. But I guess he went to say his name in the song. Period. Because that whole section over, I ain't heard from Petey Pablo since.
The world of hip-hop promises glory. It sells dreams of fame, fortune, and respect to anyone who can rise above the noise. But what happens when those dreams are controlled by a hidden system? What happens when the very industry that builds stars also decides which ones to destroy? Cat Williams has been raising alarms for years, calling out the darkness behind the glamour. He claims that young rappers, from DaBaby to Petey Pablo and countless others, are not just facing competition. They are facing a system designed to test them, compromise them, and ultimately control them. This is not just about music. This is about power. And if you listen closely to the stories of those who vanish from the spotlight, you start to see signs of a pattern. These disappearances are rarely random, and the deeper you look, the more it seems like silence is demanded and resistance is punished. Cat Williams has never minced words when describing the entertainment business. He calls it a game of control, one that rewards those who submit and punishes those who resist. According to him, the success of an artist is often predetermined, and those who step out of line quickly learn that their fame can be taken away as fast as it was given.
Did you see where Jay-Z and Beyonce's daughter, Blue Ivy?
I actually met Beyonce before. That was one of the people like, who you met, you know what I'm saying? It threw you out, like it took you back, like, you know what I'm saying? Beyonce, I was at a party at Diddy crib in LA. This was the beginning of 2020.
Club Shay Shay, yeah. I was trying to do something there that hadn't been done. I thought that I had figured out the algorithm mathematically. I thought that I could show that. And when I wrote it out to kill the careers of the people I was talking about, right? But it was so vicious that I erased all of the knockout blows and just left the jabs, so that the comic I'm talking about knows that I know your real story, motherfucker. I'm gonna tell this, but you know what else I know. So, yeah, I was.
Do you want to tell any of those stories now?
Well, I'm saying.
Behind the curtain of awards, sold-out tours, and million-dollar endorsements, there exists an environment where influence is maintained through leverage. One of the key ways this leverage is allegedly created is through private gatherings hosted by powerful figures. These events, which many insiders have alluded to, are said to involve situations that can later be used to ensure silence. Cat has hinted that what happens in those rooms is never meant to reach the public. For young artists, the moment they step into those spaces, they are marked. If they refuse, they may lose everything. If they comply, they may keep their careers, but lose their freedom. It is a trap that ensures the industry always wins.
Who is it? Petey Pablo. Petey Pablo was about to sign with Death Row. You feel me? That nigga was in the booth and he said something. He used to put Suge's name in it. And Suge just walked through the door. It's like 30 niggas, Bloods and Crips. You could tell he was hating. And the tension was in that. I ain't with none of that Blood Crip, but I say Blood and Cuz in the same sentence. Like, I'm a real nigga, I'm an East Oakland nigga, so I can do that. The other can't. So the whole point is, you know, I ain't gonna disrespect you if you're a Crip. I ain't gonna keep blood in you. If you're a Blood, I ain't gonna cut you. That just ain't how I get out. You know, I'm with respect, right? But all of them, my real, so most of them, that was real hitters. You feel me? At the same time, and then people put the nigga name, Suge's name in the song. That nigga said, hey, cut the music. That nigga went to the booth and closed the curtain. Right?
I don't want to. If I take one of you
3 minutes later, the curtain over. Section over. What the fuck you mean section over? We just got here. Section was over. I don't know what that nigga went and said to that. But I guess he didn't want that nigga to say his name in the song. Period. Cut that whole section over. I ain't heard from Petey Pablo since.
This hidden system thrives on fear, making every artist's success feel conditional and fragile. Stories of sudden cancellations, full deals, and inexplicable betrayals add weight to Cat's claims, leaving many to wonder just how deep this rabbit hole goes. DaBaby's story is one of the most striking examples of how quickly the industry can turn on someone. Just a few years ago, he was everywhere. His music dominated the charts, his videos went viral, and his live performances were electric. He had a brand that connected with fans and a level of momentum that suggested long-term success. Then, almost overnight, the tide changed. Controversies erupted, festivals canceled him, sponsors cut ties, and radio airplay dwindled. Publicly, the narrative was that he sabotaged himself with offensive remarks. But behind the scenes, some have argued there was more to the story. Sources close to the industry have suggested that DaBaby was being pressured to align with certain people and attend specific high-level events that he allegedly avoided. When he refused, the backlash was swift and relentless. The speed of the takedown felt orchestrated rather than natural. Cat Williams often points to this as proof that in entertainment, downfall can be manufactured, not just deserved.
Charlotte's DaBaby has had quite a start to 2019. His music videos have racked up millions of views, and his latest project, Baby on Baby, debuted at number 25 on the Billboard 200 chart.
I go where I want, good. Play if you want, let's do it. I'm a young CEO, sure, yeah.
The North Carolina MC started rapping in December 2014 under the name Baby Jesus, but ultimately ended up changing to his current moniker, DaBaby, a few years later.
God is great. He's the greatest. I'm just alright. I'm good. He great.
But did your aunt or your mama, your grandma?
Oh, you know they wasn't going back.
Yeah.
They like, hold on, wait a minute.
Bitch, I think I'm baby Jesus, baby Jesus. Yeah. But you can call me what you call me, what they call me.
And while he'd been rapping for a couple years before this, the MC native really started getting attention with his 2016 single Light Show off of his mixtape God's Word Resurrected.
Only young nigga in Charlotte is rocking a whole lot of diamonds. You making somebody too if your Cuban link costs 20,000.
Coming off the buzz from God's Work, he released $1 Billion Baby and Back on My Baby Jesus Shit in 2017, which brought online hits like Pull Up Music.
You nigga jogging my stilo. Bitches a brick, it's a kilo. I beat it up like Debo. This bitch got at me on the dealo.
Keeping the releases coming, 2017 also brought the beginning of DaBaby's popular mixtape series, Baby Talk, which had its most recent installment in May 2018 with Baby Talk 5.
Every like 2-3 months, boy, I take like 5 or 6 of the hottest songs out. You know what I mean? And I embarrass your favorite rapper. That's what I do.
Question me, acting like the law, but you won't punish me. I see you tomorrow.
While his music began picking up steam online, so did his antics. At South by Southwest in 2017 in Austin, Texas, DaBaby wore only a diaper and some sneakers, which he said was for promotional purposes.
A lot of people like, you tripping, man, that shit. And I'm like, yeah, that shit's gonna go viral, bro. Like, I'm like, that shit gonna go viral. Like, watch.
But whether he was in pull-ups or pants, DaBaby's personality won him more and more fans online. And by the next year, he was consistently dropping clever tracks and lighthearted music videos that were doing numbers, often featuring his favorite little dance. His unique music videos have quickly become a staple of his career. He's tapped the video collective Realgos for many of his comical clips, and some fans have drawn comparisons to Ludacris and Busta Rhymes. DaBaby's recent visuals for tracks like Minivan and Suge, both of which dropped earlier in 2019, have racked up tens of millions of views altogether. But for DaBaby, the numbers don't matter.
Peter, what's next for you? We saw you on the set of Empire, saw you doing your thing on Empire. Are you going back to the set, but you said you gotta go to LA first, actually?
Yeah, man. Well, you know, I'm still writing music for the show, and Terrence is my brother, you know, and that's another thing. Again, I don't want to speak too much about it because, you know, when I get uneasy feelings about certain situations, you know, sometimes my mouth will put me in situations where I'll be walking around looking like I have lost everything in the world. Like, what did I just say? I did not just say that publicly, but I will, you know, and really don't mind it. But I mean, I understand that there are dire consequences behind some of the things that I say. But Terrence Howard is my brother, and there's nothing that man cannot ask me to do besides some of the stuff they do on TV. No, but that's my brother, man, and you know, whatever I can do to help him and the show, man, I mean, I'm always there, and you know.
The question remains, was DaBaby truly punished for his actions, or was he made an example of for defying unseen powers? This uncertainty has sparked heated debate, with fans and critics digging for clues to uncover the truth. B-Day Pablo's journey illustrates what happens when an artist refuses to play the game from the beginning, bursting onto the scene in the early 2000s with hits like Raise Up and Freak a Leak. He was positioned as a major Southern hip-hop figure. His songs were everywhere, his album sold well, and he earned a Grammy nomination. But then, just as quickly as he arrived, he disappeared from mainstream view. Terrence Howard, who knew P.D. personally, has claimed this was no accident.
You know, the whole Terrence story, that was a whole story within itself anyway, because the reason that I got that role on Empire was, like Cherry said, I'm just that guy. I just so happened to run into Terrence Howard in the Four Seasons Hotel, and I was like, hey, what's up, man? That's Terrence, the Hustle and Flow. Oh, man, what's up? He's like, man, I listen to all your stuff. He was like, even when I was on Hustle and Flow, he was like, I listen to your music. You know, he said I was trying to act like P.D. Pablo, and that's crazy to me. And so I said, hey man, we all going out. What's up? You want to come out? And he was like, nah, man, I'm going through a little something right now, man. I lost my wallet, lost my credit card and everything, so I'm just going up to my room, man. So I was like, damn, you lost. So I reached in my pocket and pulled out $200. He was like, here.
That's it.
He was like, yeah. He was like, I was like, no, man, you just don't be walking around with nothing in your pocket. Like, here. And I gave him the money and I walked off. So fast forward, 13 years later, I get a phone call. And this was a couple years ago. He was like, is this P.D.? I was like, yeah. He was like, first of all, I need you to see this. He's like, this is Terrence Howard. I was like, damn, what's up, bro? I ain't heard from you in a year. Last time, he was like, yeah, last time I seen you, yeah, something happened between us. And I need you to send me your address because I owe you some money. And I was like, nah, bro, you don't owe me no money. He was like, bro, send me your address or I'm going to hang the phone up and and you'll never hear from me again. So I'm like, okay. So I give him my phone, my address. 2 days later, I get a check for $15,000.
Damn, what a great investment.
Crazy, right? Crazy. So I called him back and I was like, bro, he was like, listen, you do not realize that at that time, I didn't lose my wallet. He was like, I just said that because I was so embarrassed that I was going through what I was going through in life. And he was like, effortlessly, you just reached in your pocket and handed me money and didn't really even know me. You knew me from watching me on TV. You know, we had never had a conversation or anything, and he was like, and people that I've known for years had denied me at that point in time in his life. And he was like, and he was really in a bad place. He was like, for me to reach in my pocket and ever just do an act of kindness that way. He was like, it changed his thought about life. And I was like, man, that's really crazy. He was like, now we got that out of the way. Now I need you to help me on this empire.
According to Howard, Petey asked the wrong questions and rejected the unspoken demands of the business. He wanted to succeed on talent and hard work alone, and that was not enough for a system that thrives on control. By the time legal troubles hit, he had no institutional backing. Unlike other artists whose stints behind bars became part of a redemption story, Petey was abandoned completely. His silence today speaks louder than any words. This fate highlights how unforgiving the industry can be when its unspoken rules are challenged. Petey's story is a cautionary tale of how integrity, while admirable, can be a liability in a world built on manipulation and dominance. No discussion about control in hip-hop would be complete without mentioning the influence of certain industry moguls. Names like Diddy, Jay-Z, and Birdman often come up when people discuss artists who rose and then mysteriously fell.
Jay-Z is setting Diddy up. Why is everyone having such a hard time? He ain't doing shit. He lined up D. Haven, stole his life and identity. He lined up Big L, stole his life and identity. He lined up Dame Dash, stole his life, identity, and took his love. Lined up R. Kelly. He wants to be the one.
Shout out D. Haven. He actually hit us up, wanted to tell this story.
You need to talk to D. Haven.
We need to talk to him.
I told you that last year when I put you on the phone with him.
You did.
I want you to think about this. Allegedly, Sean Carter is responsible for enacting Hype Williams to put Aaliyah on a faulty plane to move her out the way as punishment for rejecting him, and so he could level up Beyonce, who was struggling. Let's just say allegedly that happened. Now I want you to think about 106th and Park with Mary J. Blige. Free, who is a victim of Sean Carter. Mary J. Blige, who is a victim of Sean Combs, are sitting there talking about the death of Aaliyah amongst each other. Think about that. You got a Diddy victim, you got a Jay-Z victim, and you got a superstar gone. They know what happened. And yet, they had to sit there and have that conversation like they didn't know who did it. Think of the power of that woman. Think about Claudia Jordan right now. Claudia Jordan don't ever mention my mother name. She mentioned it yesterday. Talking about why people are afraid to come forward. You mean like you? You was Diddy girl. Corey was Jay-Z girl. Why don't you claim your friend? Claudia.
So, Jack, what you say?
When I say Corey, I'm talking about Kathy White.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was about to ask.
Jay-Z's pregnant mistress,
yeah,
who died of an imaginary aneurysm, just like the woman who was best friends with Kim and Kimura, who wrote the book Bling and died as soon as it made the bestsellers list. Who the f were these people supposed to go to?
Diddy, in particular, has faced years of whispers about the nature of his private events, often described as extravagant but highly exclusive. Former associates have suggested that these gatherings are more than parties. They are environments designed to create loyalty through compromise. Cat Williams has referred to these settings as traps, where young talent is put in situations they cannot easily escape. The artists who walk away from these circles often find their careers slowing down or collapsing entirely. Those who stay might enjoy riches, but always under someone else's terms. This is why the same names dominate the industry for decades, while new talent cycles in and out like clockwork. It is not just survival of the fittest, it is survival of the most compliant. The ongoing dominance of these figures suggests that their influence is not merely financial, but structural. They shape the very landscape of hip-hop, ensuring that those who challenge them rarely survive the fallout. Among the most disturbing allegations surrounding the music industry are what insiders have described as freak-offs. These are said to be private, tightly controlled gatherings hosted by some of the most influential figures in music. According to multiple accounts, these events are not ordinary parties, but rather carefully staged environments designed to gather compromising information on attendees.
That's why I don't be going to the puffy parties. They can hug you from the front and the back at the same time. That's what you talking about. Look, if you're into that, I'm fine with it. To get you some. I'm just saying this ain't my kind of party. I like it. It's uncomfortable. I think I belong in the girls' bathroom. And like that is going.
In a shocking turn of events, federal raids on Sean Diddy Combs' Miami Beach mansion and a Los Angeles property have unveiled disturbing evidence linked to serious criminal charges, including sex trafficking and racketeering. Authorities discovered a cache of weapons, including untraceable AR-15 rifles and a significant amount of like ketamine and ecstasy allegedly used to control women during drug-fueled sexual performances dubbed freak-offs. The indictment claims Diddy engaged in a persistent pattern of coercing women and sex workers into participating in these events. Testimonies from former associates describe an environment of intimidation and fear, with Diddy allegedly using his influence to silence victims. As the trial continues, graphic evidence from the raids has captivated public attention, highlighting the serious nature of the allegations against the music mogul, who faces up to life in prison if convicted.
Cat Williams has strongly hinted that once someone has been involved in these events, they can be controlled indefinitely. For young rappers, the stakes are enormous. Refuse to attend, and you risk being blackballed. Attend, and you may leave with a career that is no longer truly yours. Diddy's name often surfaces in these discussions, as countless stories from former associates suggest he has hosted such events for years. DaBaby himself was rumored to have been invited to certain elite gatherings, but distanced himself, which some believe contributed to his sudden downfall. The idea is chilling. Careers can be manufactured, but they can also be chained through secrets no one dares to speak aloud. This alleged practice has cast a long shadow over the industry, leaving fans questioning how deep the exploitation goes and why so few insiders dare to confirm its existence publicly.
Did you ever have the opportunity where you got invited and you said no to it?
Hell yeah.
What was the
Hell
consequences
yeah. I
when you
mean,
said no?
Puffy invited me for weeks, asking me to come and teach him how to, wanted me to be his acting coach for a while. Go there and he's sitting around just looking. I'm like, okay, what's the material you want to work on? He's looking. Then next thing you know, okay, hey, will you help me? I want to hear your music. So I come up there and I play the music. He's sitting there, he's looking at me, like waiting. Okay. So then my assistant was like, he wants to hang out with you next week. And I was like, for what? He was like, I think he's trying to. That's what my assistant said. I was like, oh, okay. Now I get it. So now no more communication. Now you know to be hands off with somebody. A number of producers come in and make the approach, and you threaten to punch them in the mouth, threaten to knock their head off for talking to you like, or looking at you like you're a woman. When you approach a real man about his masculinity, you're going to get a real reaction. It's a difference when a guy walks in the room and when a man walks in the room. And a man don't take the same things that a guy would say. So always be the man in the room. And that's always been my whole thing. And I've lost businesses because I don't bend over in them. I don't compromise. I don't play gay roles. I don't kiss a man. I don't do that because the man card means everything.
When you examine the stories of DaBaby, Petey Pablo, Shine, G-Dep, Memphis Bleek, and others, a pattern emerges. Promising talent is identified, built up, and celebrated. Then, at the first sign of resistance, they are dismantled. Public scandals are amplified. Legal troubles are exploited, and once supportive labels suddenly vanish. It is almost like a silent signal is sent to the industry to cut ties, leaving the artist isolated. Cat Williams argues that this is not a random chance. He believes this is a deliberate cycle that keeps power concentrated at the top. By destroying non-compliant artists, the industry protects its own interests. Fans unknowingly participate by consuming sensationalized headlines without questioning where they come from. And as long as this cycle remains hidden, countless more careers will be chewed up and forgotten. The consistency of these outcomes makes them difficult to dismiss as coincidence. The same script seems to repeat over decades, indicating that the machinery behind these collapses is both intentional and deeply entrenched.
You know, well, when you lose your man card, that's the only thing I can think of. You lose your damn man card, it's not with you, brother. You give up your ability, your right to be a man. Man don't take it, man gives it. So when you give up that man card, you don't get that back.
Are you saying what I think you're saying?
I'm saying what I'm saying. You don't get that back. You come into this world as a man one time. You give up that right for anything, for fear of being hurt, fear of somebody doing something, for wanting to gain something. When you give up that man card right, you lose some spiritual energy that has always been pushing through. Like if a woman gives up her womanly right of being a mother, taking care of her family, and do all those things. When you give up those things, but when you give up your manhood, I've never seen somebody recover from it. That was all the people that went to the puffy parties. That was all the people that did all those things thinking that there was never going to be a consequence for what they would do. Got punked out and pimped out by some greater desire. You should have a greater desire than being a man. So I believe that's a big problem with a lot of the actors out there because they get fluid. And next thing you know, once you go fluid, it's gone. You don't have any foundation to pull yourself back from. So maintain your man card, no matter what.
Yeah, I mean, you know, one of the things you're seeing, you went to a whole different place.
Sorry.
No, I get it. So you see some guys struggling with that. You see Bieber struggling with that. You see some of these guys struggling with that.
They can't get it out of their head. They can't get it out of their head. Things that they did, no matter how they did it, whether they were drunk or high or whatever, you gave up your man card. You need therapy. And that's the thing that hurts them the most. And so they end up every way to try and get rid of any principles there are. And that's what the business does. And women that trade their bodies to go and get the role. They get to the point where they have their Oscar, they have their money, but they don't have their dream. They don't have the soul that they started with. So it's like achieving don't mean anything. If I get all the Nobel Prizes from doing all of this, but in the process I have to trade out all of my integrity to do it so that they can stay in place, what benefit is that if I lose my integrity? You got to go in as a principle. And what we were brought in here is men. We produce 1,500 sperm per heartbeat for a reason, because the aggression is necessary. You don't trade that, no matter what.
Cat Williams himself has faced backlash for refusing to stay silent. Over the years, he has been arrested multiple times, involved in strange public incidents, and labeled as unstable by mainstream outlets. He insists these are tactics to discredit him, and whether you agree with him or not, the pattern is clear. Those who speak out are often portrayed as unreliable or unhinged.
Just imagine I'm watching Petey Pablo in his car. My brother, Big Spider, in his passenger seat doing this. And Petey Pablo let me unscrew his earring. Rest in peace, Del Dog from Main Street. If it wasn't for Del Dog pulling up, not demanding, but really politicking and pleading, begging my brother, because he had interest with Petey Pablo that he needed Petey Pablo to feel like, I'm safe with you, I was here with you. So Del Dog really pleaded to my brother to give him that pass, which was a very hard pass for my brother to get. But I just seen Petey Pablo sit there and allow a nigga to screw his earrings out, didn't do nothing.
Damn.
Am I lying, Petey Pablo?
Man, Suge just pretended like he wasn't around or didn't, because wasn't Petey Pablo actually signed to Death Row at one point or was gonna sign?
This is the thing. With Suge, it had nothing to do with Petey Pablo. It had everything to do with when he got with us. My brother, his whole interest, his approach was to ask should permission is it okay for me to get out like that around here while we're moving around. And just before it was even a P. Pablo to think about, and my brother getting it like that, and nobody in particular was the person we're talking about, should kind of like gave him the green light and let him know, I know how you get down, and when we're moving, that's in the game too. You know, just don't be messy, cross nobody up, implicate nothing. Shit ain't robbing nobody, he ain't got nothing to do with it, but he was trying to let my brother know, I know how you get down, and when shit go down, if it go down, don't feel like I think you offended me or, you know, backdoing. Like, green light, you know, just keep it clean as far as don't have me crossed up. That was just the understanding. And P. Pablo just somebody else, that another, so that was just the understanding. Shit wasn't gonna let P. Pablo feel like, oh, you watch me get robbed. Nah. Shit still gonna have a position with P. Pablo like I'm at least trying to see what I can do. And Shit was cool enough to where he might negotiate a few coins about a P. Pablo on our behalf for him to get the earrings back. He was that type of understanding. You feel me? So I'm just letting you know it's nothing new for that type of thing going down. Like P. Pablo, yeah. He was sitting there real comfortable, calm, letting the nigga unscrew his earrings.
For artists like P. Pablo, the cost was their career. For DaBaby, it might be the same. For Cat, it has been years of constant battles just to maintain his platform. The reality is harsh. The industry does not forgive rebellion, and every time a voice like Cat's is silenced or dismissed, it sends a chilling warning to others. Speak out, and you might lose everything. The emotional and financial toll of such battles cannot be overstated. It is a lonely road that often ends in ruin as the system crushes those who dare to challenge its power. As more artists begin to hint at what really happens behind the scenes, the question is whether the public is ready to listen. Terrence Howard's support for P. Pablo, Cat Williams' unrelenting commentary, and the repeated pattern of careers destroyed should spark deeper conversations about accountability in music.
That's the young people. That is gonna come up. I bought P. Pablo's Diary of a Sinner. P. Pablo, I love him. My kids, damn, who is this country ass dude? He's a rapper. North Carolina, raise up, put your shirt off, twist it around your head like a helicopter. That's my cut, man. I actually took my shirt off. I've been caught up in it, y'all. Then he got Diary of a Sinner. I love the song about when he was down to, he thought he was dead broke. I had scraping up change in the ashtray, 2 cigarettes. He didn't know how he was gonna make it. That song, I listen to that to this day before I go to work, because it reminds me. Because it ain't always been this way. You know, you can't get this life. First of all, it's a blessing. This is grace and favor. You know, this ain't your life ain't really supposed to be like this. I ain't really done nothing to deserve this. This is grace. This God just gave me a lot of grace, man. I really, on the real, I take no credit for where I am today. You know, I work hard, I'm funny, but this life I got, this crazy.
But will they, or will the machine continue to operate unchecked, erasing those who resist and replacing them with eager new faces? DaBaby's rapid fall and P. Pablo's erasure are not just cautionary tales. They are reminders that talent alone cannot protect you when systems of control run this deep. Cat Williams may sound extreme to some, but history keeps supporting his claims. The real question is whether audiences will wake up to this reality before more voices are silenced forever.
That's the young people. That is gonna come up. I bought P. Pablo's Diary of a Sinner. P. Pablo, I love him. My kids, damn, who is this country ass dude? He's a rapper. North Carolina, raise up, put your shirt off, twist it around your head like a helicopter. That's my cut, man. I actually took my shirt off. I've been caught up in it, y'all. Then he got Diary of a Sinner. I love the song about
As you've seen how much stuff can go on in Hollywood. If you have talent, they will use you until you have no more talent and throw you away. This machine, they've been doing this generation since the 1920s. It shows you what kind of power is out there. It's a devil's playground. So, I'll leave this information with y'all.